now it's time for a review of what's making the headlines in the papers this morning. Let's bring in a RISE analyst, Dr. Constance Ikpoku. Good morning, Dr. Constance.
Good morning, Yolanda. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. And Nkechi, happy Democracy Day.
Happy Democracy Day, Dr. Ikpoku. Good morning.
Okay, we'll see what happens with the President's address today. Joining us to review the papers today is Mr. Ben Sherman. He is a former Director of News, Voice of Nigeria. Hello there and welcome to the program. We'll begin with this day. In this day, the 2025 Power List, 80 most influential leaders of Nigeria's democracy in policy and leadership. The special report on today's Power Brokers rightly declares that the President does not operate in isolation. These are key confidants, or there are key confidants, the inner circle, trusted advisors, and other officials. Some of them are profiled here, and the majority are familiar faces. From the President's family members, such as the wife of the President, Oluremi Tinubu, to some, Sheyi, Wale Tinubu, Yinka Tinubu, Folashade Tinubu Ojo. There are also others, Godswill Akpabio, Nyesom Wike, Yemi Cardoso, Nuhu Ribadu, Wale Edu, Gilbert Chaguri, Aliko Dangote, among others. A very long list here. Each and every one of these individuals wield tremendous power. But it's not enough to have influence. The question arises, what are you doing with that power? Are you changing lives? What agenda are you setting? What legacy are you leaving? Are you driving real change or preventing it? Ben, your thought on this high-powered list of men and women who currently hold sway today?
Yeah, I think that they are, let me call them nationalists, but I do remember like this same day around this hour, I was already in the streets of Abeokuta covering June 12th, looking for what would voters do. But for this list, yes, for Tinubu, thumbs up for him. He's been so dogged, so resilient, and so constant, like the Northern Star, when it comes to democracy. I can see that many other people have been listed, like his children. I'll just say, well, they came in much later. But we cannot talk of this same thing, Democracy Day, without remembering the architects of this same June 12th, Abiola himself. We cannot talk and push away Humphrey Nwosu. Even the Babangida himself that annulled the election, I mean, they laid the unholy foundation for this day that is being celebrated today. And of course, we cannot talk without the opposition that time, NRC, Bashir Tofa, and Sylvester Ugo, who was the vice presidential candidate of NRC. And of course, one thing that is key to Nigeria is this thing, Muslim ticket. That time it was not an issue at all, and that was why we had MKO Abiola, a Muslim, and we had Baba Gana Kingibe, another Muslim. Nigerians didn't bother at all. But today, due to the fact that these dividends of democracy, poverty and all that, religion is now being injected into the polity, and we appear to be in this area. But all the same, there are people who are standing tall, very high, solid, to ensure that Nigeria moves forward, and they've been listed, as we can see. Well,
we'll see what legacy they leave. Time will tell. Let's move on to Daily Sun. Bandits hold sway in Niger community. Ban residents from accessing market. It's not a new thing, says the government. This is taking place in Kudoro community in Shiroro local government of the state. The villagers have sent a Save Our Souls message to the governor, Omar Bago, to rescue them. The bandits have banned them from the only market and threatened to kill anyone who goes against their instructions. There are other details in this story, but the bottom line is that it seems that this has become part of everyday life in some parts of the north, and it's gradually being accepted that the government is unable to disrupt these parallel government arrangements going on, Ben.
Yes, I think they are taking a cue from what happened earlier in Birningwari, Kaduna State. You see, these bandits will hinder farmers from going to farms, and unless you paid a kind of some royalties or some taxation, a kind of before you pass, and you go farm, the time of harvesting will come. They tell you they protected the crops and they have the right of first rejection in terms of buying those crops, and they buy the crops at the rock bottom, whatever they feel like, you know. So we've been held ransom, and I do remember those days. Lagbaja, Taurid Lagbaja, then Minister GOC in Kaduna, at the point he led the soldiers into the bushes and liberated those areas. Now in Niger State, this has been a kind of repeated, and we expect that the security agencies should move in and do what is expected of them. Internal security remains the job of the state, DSS and the police. We expect that they move in. However, when people say protect yourselves, how do you protect yourself against a man who has a controlled item, AK-47? These are state-owned items, but they are now being held by known as state actors, and they kill when they want. So I think that time has come that the security agencies to be very, very proactive before they copy another state copies from Niger State as they have copied from Kaduna State those days. Time has come for them, the security agencies, to take the war to the bandits.
And it seems to be a double whammy for Niger State. They're still recovering from the flooding, you know, that affected more than 500 people and more than 1,000 people, you know, still missing now. So very complicated situation there, and I think there are a lot of expectations that the government or the governor will rise to the occasion. Let's see Daily Independent. Air Peace accuses Oshiomhole of disrupting flight services. There's also that story in the Vanguard newspaper with a more dramatic caption, and that caption says, Lagos Airport drama, Air Peace Oshiomhole in war of words. The story goes that former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshiomhole, arrived Lagos Airport by 6:10 a.m. for a 6:30 a.m. flight. Among there, he was told that he had, when he arrived there, he was told that the flight, that he was late. And then all hell broke loose as Oshiomhole, according to this report, resorted to violence, physically assaulting staff and forcefully barricading the terminal's entrance. It went as far as sealing the entrance gate and manning the access point, obstructing other passengers from accessing the terminal. In his defense, videos showed Oshiomhole and other passengers accusing the airline of overbooking, then closing the counters. And Nkechi, I know you were laughing about this before. Whatever the situation was, because we also had the video of Mr. Oshiomhole trying to defend himself, it does seem like this disruptive, unruly behavior seems to be showing up more or normalized in our public spaces. It might partially be because of the kind of services people receive. At the same time, this is not how to run a society.
I mean, you're absolutely right. This type of behavior or passengers or travelers engaging with airline staff or airport service providers has now been normalized. It's more like an everyday thing. Once you go online, you always see passengers shouting at airline staff or airline staff shouting at passengers. There's always a scandal happening at the airport, and it always starts from either a flight delay, flight cancellation, or in this case, someone arriving late at the airport and being told that the plane has left or boarding has closed.
VIPs,
yeah,
holding orders ransom.
Exactly. But also on the part of the airlines, I think Nigerians are so used to airlines not respecting their own part of the contract when it comes to delays of flights, cancellations with no apologies, no compensation, which is why they get agitated when it comes to issues at the airport. However, we need to know that the airport is a very, very sensitive place. And I think in other climes, situations like this, I don't know, from the videos we saw, we can see him
the security
exchanging.
Will take you away.
Security will take you away. There will be hearings had. Definitely there will be investigations, not just public court of law or having press conferences. There actually needs to be investigations and hearings to determine what is always causing this issue, because people getting agitated at the airport, cursing out themselves, and also putting staff at risk is getting too much in Nigeria. So I think the airlines themselves, the NCAA, FAN, all the agencies need to come together and get it right. And also we need to, Nigerian travelers just need a break, I think so.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say on this.
They do apologize, but then they hardly ever compensate.
Do they apologize?
Yeah,
and they don't, and they also don't
messages.
give, yeah, but they send the text messages
of,
when you're at the airport already.
Yeah. I receive a lot of text messages saying we apologize. However, at the end of the day, there's no compensation, monetary compensation and all of that. So they do have a problem. Let's move on to New Telegraph. APC Protest as state government imposes 50 million campaign permit fee. The Anambra State Signage and Advertising Agency imposed this as outdoor advertising fee for the 16 parties participating in the upcoming Anambra governorship election. Each party is expected to pay before being allowed to mount billboards and other outdoor campaign signage. It doesn't say specifically if this is an additional fee to payment for each billboard advert. However, the parties are complaining. 50 million is quite a bit of money. Whatever it is, Yolanda, I think that too much money politics creates a vicious cycle of power and inequality. It just allows dark money groups to wield immense influence while others are unable to participate, isn't it?
Yes, and people should complain indeed, because automatically this is setting the rules for who can run for political office without actually spelling it out rightly. Because if you are able to bring out that money, then okay, you are eligible. But then if you can't, then you cannot, you know, run to go and campaign without paying those permit fees. So the accessibility, the political accessibility of this is what stands out the most to me. The fact that it's discouraging people, it just shows that it's only for a certain class that are able to run for office.
Yeah, money politics in Nigeria. Yeah. On to the Daily Times. Wike has a place in APC, according to Tinubu. The president might just have said what was thought, but never said or never altered publicly. The Minister Nyesom Wike of the FCT is very much welcome whenever he decides to join the All Progressives Congress. Now, Wike is still a card-carrying member of the opposition People's Democratic Party. And the president welcomed him ahead of time while commissioning some road projects in the FCT. I mean, you must give it to FCT minister. Yeah. There's a lot of movement in Abuja with regard to completion of projects, at least when compared to the last minister under President Muhammadu Buhari. This is really a significant jump. But when it comes to the politics that these two men are playing, at this point, whether Wike jumps ship or not, it doesn't seem like it will look like any big deal anymore. What do you think, Ben?
Well, I think that if Wike jumps ship, I mean, it's within his democratic right. But when you look at the agenda, it was even set up right from the then Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who nicknamed him Mr. Project, because those days in Rivers State, they said 1 week, 1 project, and he's trying to replicate that in Abuja. So yes, give it to Wike when it comes to projects or service delivery. But again, one is worried too. Look at the International Conference Center.
Yes.
Virtually the amount spent to renovate that is more than what was used to build it in the first place. Some people will say, okay, there is inflation and all that stuff. But again, the political movement of Wike and his own future, no one is so sure of. Now, if he moves to APC now, his domineering posture, he's going to meet people who are already on ground. Will you want to unseat them, or would they just vacate the place and say a bigger elephant has come? Is he going there with excess luggage, or he's going there to ensure that APC has some more wins, kind of. But again, if you look at even the governor of Fubara in Rivers State, at the point APC is now saying, look, APC is not a dumping ground. Even if it crosses over, it's still going to be impeached. Is that another wiki kind of agenda? So it says a lot also in terms of Wike's political future. How certain is it? Here you are, one leg APC, one leg PDP. So where do you belong? Nigerians would want to know. You also wanted to be president of this country too, but how is it going to look like? You're campaigning for APC, and you've seen that some PDP governors have already crossed over to APC. Right. Are they forerunners for him to clear ways, the John the Baptist kind of a thing for Wike to now join APC? We wait to see, but you can see that the president has already given him a presidential ticket.
He has. Interesting. Let's see new leadership. No, sorry, leadership newspaper. There at the top it says June 12, indiscipline threatening our democracy, according to CSOs and other parties. We also have the Punch newspaper. Protesters mobilize as Tinubu addresses National Assembly. That's going to be today, I think sometime in the afternoon by 12 noon. And then on to the international headlines, Daily Graphic. New era for aluminium industry. GIA DEC granted 6 mining leases. This is the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation. Then the Citizen newspaper. Government rents private school for 22 million rand. This is after failing to build a special needs school and now having to rent a costly space for that. And then critics said this amounts to neglect of pupils with disabilities. And then on to Trump and President Trump and Elon Musk. Elon Musk now says that he regrets his tweets on President Donald Trump. He admits that he went too far. President Trump, in response, said he thought it was nice of Elon to admit his failings. Listen, Trump is president. Elon Musk could lose his government contracts and other privileges. So at the end of the day, you know, he perhaps is realizing it. Yolanda, your take on this?
I have a lot to say about this, but I'll keep it short. I mean, you know, when we spoke about this last week, I also mentioned that it was very dicey for Elon Musk to mention Donald Trump in the Epstein files. Such an accusation is very weighty. We know how this Epstein files story just literally turned on its head for the entire world. And so for Donald Trump to be associated with such an accusation is such a big charge. So I'm glad that he's gone back on his word. I'm pretty sure it came on good advice. He was advised to make that decision because you cannot throw out something like that without bringing out the proof to support it.
Yeah, and Elon's father, I think, tried to smoothen the way by saying that his son is under tremendous stress. But yeah, Trump is the president and he has the power. On to the Sun newspaper. Britain continues with the migration challenge here. We see migrant spending in shambles, according to this newspaper. Viva la farce, this headline screams, which translates to long live the farce, a situation that is absurd or chaotic. It says the French cops shrug as more boats of illegals head to the UK, and Chancellor Rees says asylum hotels will be open till 2029. I mean, any comments here on this crisis? Is not only the UK facing the illegal immigration boats.
Yes, that was my... Oh, sorry. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. You see, in my own case, I would rather look at it from the origin, the source of this migration.
Perfect.
Why is it that in Africa, in Asia, Africa in particular, West Africa, just look at the way Europe is being inundated with people running away from their home countries. Now, if I say that my uncle's house is better than my father's house, why should I just simply run away from my father's house? I know where it leaks. I stay and see how I can make my father's house better. But again, my own father should also make the situation very, very good. For example, why is it that governments in Nigeria, governments in Ghana, just name these West African countries, you just see that people are just migrating. Our doctors are going, pharmacists are going, everyone is just jackpine, let me put it this way. And we have been left with nothing. But when you also land there, it's not as if it is big uhuru. You have to pay all sorts of charges. You have to pay for services. I know that some people are even coming from London to now come do operations, surgical surgeries here in Nigeria and go back because of the situations over there. It's not a big deal after all. But we can stay here, good governance, and make it fine.
Yolanda, please jump in quickly.
Yes, let me just quickly say I definitely agree and echo those sentiments as well. And, you know, these European countries, even the US, they have every right to complain about migration spending in their countries. Right now, Los Angeles, just as we've been speaking about these past days, is really on the brink of a disaster because of the same issue. So I think also other nations need to take a listening ear and kind of say, how can we just keep our people on our shores? Because even going now at this rate, yes, we've just spoken about high taxes that people have to pay. You know, there's all this rejection that we're being faced with, discrimination, racism. Let's try and look within and create our own solutions to our problems.
Yeah, let's also remember that there are historical perspectives to what is going on all over Europe and even the United States of America in terms of migration. It's a very complex topic, you know, which we don't have time to discuss here. And there are also so many countries within Africa that are, you know, experiencing wars. A lot of people are also coming from those places. So I don't think it's a simplistic matter. But we have to go now. We have to leave it there because we're out of time. Ben Sherman, former Director of News at the Voice of Nigeria, thank you for being here with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you so much, Dr. Constance Ikoku, for joining us on Daybreak again, as usual, and heading the newspaper review. That's all the time we have here on Daybreak. I'm Nkechi Nana.
And I'm Yolanda Robert. Do keep it here on Arise News. The morning show is next. Bye-bye.